Breath of the Wild 2 rumors, Smash Brothers and E3, let's talk all about this.
Block content.
What's happening, my blocked buddies, and welcome to a brand new episode of Blocked Content's Leak Speak. My name is Callum, and this is going to be your blocked content for today, and E3 is rapidly approaching. The coolest part about this all is that we are days away from getting information about games that we've heard about for the past 3, maybe sometimes 4 years, and we haven't had an E3 in about 2 years. It's been so long, and we've been waiting. We've been eagerly awaiting the next Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighter to see what the future is for Breath of the Wild with Breath of the Wild 2, and of course Metroid with Metroid Prime 4. There's people thinking we might get Mario Kart sequel and a lot of other cool stuff. So really curious to find out what the new theories are for Breath of the Wild Part 2. Well, today we've got you covered. We're going to be talking about the sequel to Breath of the Wild, what it might bring, a lot of different rumors that have been popping up over the past couple of days, because as E3 draws near, it seems very possible that things are starting to leak out. And I mean, even today, there was this huge leak about the GameStop stores actually getting posters for The Legend of Zelda 35th Anniversary. So with all of these different graphics on it from The Legend of Zelda HD collections and stuff like the, newer versions of the 3DS games. So could there be some sort of collection coming? Well, today we talk a little bit about Zelda, a little bit about what that could mean for Smash Brothers, and there's also a Smash Theory video on the way that talks a little bit about a certain Smash Brothers character. So we've got you covered with all sorts of Nintendo at E3 news, and of course, when E3 breaks, when we actually have the Direct, we are going to be live streaming. And also, if you have questions for me here on Blocked Content, it's very easy to send us an email with your question and it will get featured on the show, and you can send that email to blockedcontentmail@gmail.com, and I might be discussing your question live on the show. And also, if you want to talk with me and all of our other Blocked Content fans, you can do so on our beautiful Discord. It's a world created just for us, Smash Brothers, Nintendo, and just gaming fans in general. If you click the link in the description, you'll get transported to a beautiful world of the Blocked Content Discord. So hope to see you guys after this episode. And let's talk a little bit about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Part 2 and some news that definitely has a lot of people excited for what the future is of that franchise, and that we might actually get some really cool news around E3 time. Well, our news from today comes to us from comicbook.com's gaming segment and was originally posted by Tyler Fisher, and it says Nintendo E3 2021 rumor has The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 fans excited. And yes, a new rumor about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 has emerged ahead of E3 2021, and it has Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Lite fans excited. Right now, Nintendo hasn't confirmed whether or not the new Zelda game will rear its head during its special E3 2021 Nintendo Direct, but the expectation is that it will, and apparently it may be with a pop. The aforementioned rumor was first relayed by Spawnwave over on Twitter. Taking to the social media platform, Spawnwave revealed that they have been, quote, getting a bunch of messages about some sort of GameStop event next week that, quote again, sounds like it could be Zelda related. Well, adding to this, gaming's most famous leaker, Jeff Grubb, actually chimed in, relaying word that he's heard similar rumblings before expanding upon the claim. I've heard some similar rumblings, said Grubb, quote tweeting Spawnwave. GameStops are expecting to get more next-gen console supplies in after E3, and that's part of it. But they're also expecting a rush on June 15, the day of that Nintendo presser, that Nintendo Direct. Now, assuming that all of this is correct, that this is true, there are only two big possibilities here. And number one, there is a The Legend of Zelda themed Nintendo Switch coming. The other possibility is that Nintendo will reveal our first real look at the game running on the heavily rumored Nintendo Switch Pro or Super Nintendo Switch, which is reportedly due for a reveal any day now. In fact, this almost has to be what Nintendo is preparing for if GameStop is expecting to get next-gen console supplies after E3. However, right now, at the moment of press, it's unclear how much of this is expectation versus what the retailer definitely knows is coming. Unfortunately, right now, all we have are rumors and speculation. Whatever ends up happening, it sounds like Zelda will be a core part of Nintendo's E3 2021 Direct, and you'd assume that this would actually include The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Part 2. Now, of course, there's so much to discuss here, and not only in terms of Smash Brothers, because as a lot of people have kind of been theorizing, it really makes sense for Nintendo to just promote Breath of the Wild as a universe and Breath of the Wild 2 as a game in Smash Brothers, right? We have a lot of Smash characters in the game, and yes, Link is actually the version of Breath of the Wild, but if you look ahead to the future, it might be very smart to just promote that franchise with some more. I mean, the Mario franchise has been getting newcomers. I mean, just think about Piranha Plant being the bonus character that everyone got when, getting the DLC. And The Legend of Zelda is such a huge Nintendo franchise and didn't really get anything new. All the characters kind of have different models, right? If we look at Zelda and then Ganondorf and Link. But other than that, I mean, we brought back young Link, but where is that new Zelda newcomer? We deserve one. So we might get an Impa, we might get a new character that will be introduced in Breath of the Wild Part 2. Who knows what's going to happen, but it really makes sense for them to actually get something from that franchise, because not only do you just want to support everything that came before in terms of Breath of the Wild being a lot of people's game of the year, and of course crushing all those sales expectations, and it being a darling for reviewers, but also of course the Age of Calamity game that is also, in a lot of people's hearts. It also is a game that's still on, people are still buying that game. You can really promote that. And yes, if all the rumors are true and there is a new Nintendo Switch Pro coming and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 will actually be a big game on that system, well then it really makes sense to have some sort of Smash Brothers tie-in to that, right? To actually have a character from that franchise appear in Smash is the biggest thing that they can do to also increase sales for that brand new game. And with that, of course, the brand new console. So it would be really smart for Nintendo to take that approach. I actually really love the original Breath of the Wild, and even though I never ended up finishing it, and yes, that is really sacrilege for me to say, I had a lot of things going on in that year, I really am excited to revisit that game and to get all those details and all the world, right? And I really, really love what they've done with the art style. So I'm really happy that they continue to have that art style, but just continue expanding on the world, the story, and potentially even the ways that we play the game. Right now, we don't really know all that much about the new ways to play that game, but it would be very exciting to find out what the new sort of styles and gimmicks are that they are bringing to Breath of the Wild Part 2. Are we having new playable characters? Is there some sort of multiplayer coming? What is the change in the world? Are we going to be visiting below the world as we saw in that trailer? Or are we visiting something above world as we see with, of course, the Skyward Sword game that is also getting an HD version? Well, I'm really curious to find out what you guys think of all the news of today. Will we get a Breath of the Wild sequel gameplay at E3? Let me know down in the comments. I'm really curious to find out if you guys have any theories and ideas for Breath of the Wild Part 2. And well, let's talk about our common question winner, and that is This Channel is Weird, saying, if Doomslayer and Master Chief both get into Smash, I think that this is how it should go. Samus and Bayonetta are dominating Minecraft Steve, with Samus delivering a roundhouse, and then he goes flying into Banjo-Kazooie. Both get slammed into a wall, and they look at Bayonetta, pulls out her pistols while Samus is charging. Banjo rushes forward as Steve tries also to side-slam them, but he realized he doesn't have any magic feathers, so they look at Samus is about to fire a laser, slams into her right side, and Bayonetta stops time, jumps out of the way, and sees Samus scraping across the ground. They both look up to see the attacker, and Master Chief fires with Spartan Laser, walks up to Banjo and Steve. Lucky shot, Cortana says. The intro card flashes with a revamped version of A Rock Anthem to Save the World and says, Master Chief finishes the fight. Then it cuts to gameplay of Master Chief's attacks and abilities, final smash that should have been throwing character into the arc. as the halo ignites. But Master Chief gets slammed in by Ridley and begins to slash, well, all of his shields and begin to get low. Chief punches and tries to get out of Ridley's clutches, but he's failing horribly. Shields start bleeping and Cortana says, "Chief, get out of here!" But suddenly slow metal starts playing. In the background, a flaming chain wraps around Ridley. Ridley has very little time to react as he gets yanked back and as the fists collide with the side of his face. Ridley goes flying. Master Chief looks to see who saved his life, and then the Doomslayer stands there menacingly as the meat hook retracts back into his super shotgun. The Doomslayer reaches to his side and pulls out a crucible and then ignites a massive sword, and the title card shows Doomslayer rips and tears into the fight. A revamped version of I Saved the Demon plays in the background as it shows the Doomslayer attacks and specials in Final Smash, which should be Vega for the father opening a portal and throwing them onto the surface of Mars, and the Doomslayer and the BFG 10,000 with Hayden saying you can just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars, but then Doomslayer ignores him and does it anyway. Well, this channel is weird. Thank you so much for your super cool comment. I actually really feel that this double reveal would be incredible to see. It kind of reminds me of Richter and Simon. So thank you guys so much for, of course, joining us for another episode. And if you want to support Blocked Content and make sure that we get to make videos every single day, go to patreon.com/blockedcontent. If you even donate $1, you can, decide what we make a video about next, and let's have a dialogue together. So yeah, please become our new patron. It would mean a lot to me. Click that like button. It really helps out the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow where we have a lot more Blocked content. See ya.